Thank you, Director Jung. It's so nice to meet you. I guess, or to start, it's been about 3 years since Next Sohee has already premiered at Cannes, and about 8 years since the real life incident appeared on TV. So, how do you feel about the movie, looking back?
되게,
Yeah, so that's actually a very unique question. And like you mentioned, it's been 3 years since that. And after that, we released the movie in Korea and then we also re-released the movie in other countries. So I went around meeting a lot of the audiences. And since the movie's initial premiere, there's been a lot of changes in society. Specifically speaking, there's been some new laws that have been changed or added due to the movie. And regarding how I'm feeling myself, um, when I think of the movie, I think some may think that the movie belongs to me or other staff or other actors that were a part of the production and directing of the movie. But actually, I think that the movie is not ours, but it's more of the audience's. The movie is something that the audience lives in. This is a message that they will carry after in their own personal lives. So I think that's how I'm feeling at the moment.
I think this reflects in the way that Next Sohee is also set up, and that there's no clear villain, but it's about the whole system that is at fault. And so, was this how the story was originally framed in the SBS documentary? How did you research for your film, and how did it evolve over time?
음, 맞아요. 처음에 이
So
사건을
you're
알게 된,
right. The first time I got to know of this incident was through the SBS documentary. And I think looking back, when I saw the documentary, it wasn't just dealing with just the incident, but it was in a way that it's told the story in a mysterious investigation type of way, where where they look into the deaths of these victims. And this made me curious. And then naturally, I started to look at actual news reports from this incident of Sohee, which included things like materials from the police, also just like records from the investigation. And then that led me to get curious about really researching about the externship program itself, how it's structured, um, and such. And then the next step that I took is I researched on the family of the victims that were involved in this problem. And the final thing that I looked at was this, I read a self-written essay of an actual worker who was in the externship program themselves, working in a similar environment. And I think thinking about all of these things all together made me realize that this is a repeated issue in society, and this is something that I need to change.
Yeah, and I think so much of the atmosphere of the film reminds me of like the early 2000s work of Jia Zhangke with Zhao Tao, a young dancer who goes through the mundane life of a working class protagonist as seen in Shujie, and other works, and Still Life and the like. But unlike Zhao Tao, Kim Xian and later Peduna don't just float along with the life that is presented to her, they actively fight against it. And so I was just wondering, what is your do you have any commentary upon that at all?
우선은 너무나 존경하는 지하장퍼 감독님 영화에 빗대어 주셔서 너무너무
Thank you so much for comparing me to director Zhao Tao. He's someone that I really hold close to my heart and respect dearly. And when I think about Next Sohee, you mentioned that they were actively fighting to against this pressure. And rather than actively fighting, I keep thinking that they keep running into this issue constantly. And they show a side of them where they keep on not giving up, they keep going. And it's only natural that they act this way because I believe that this is something that deals with life or death. So take a look at Sohee, for example. One would expect her to be a very communicative and extroverted person, even with consideration to her job at a call center. But we're able to see in the film that more as time goes by, she's isolated from society, which ultimately leads to her death. So when I look back at this, I think rather than fighting actively against it, they were fighting in a sense where they're trying not to die. And I think I realized these things more and more actually from your question that you asked me, it makes me think. And in regards to Eugen, as Eugen investigates and the investigation comes to an end, She realizes that this is not just an unfortunate event that just happened coincidentally, but this is a larger societal issue. And I think with that same mindset that Sohee had, Yujin is also fighting so that she can avoid death.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, this like life or death sort of situation. I think it's becomes prevalent even in the way that we see so many of the numbers that are emphasized throughout the film. And this obsession with rankings that we see over and over and over again in the call center, the school, local board. Do you feel like this is still prevalent in Korea today, or do you think this is changing?
계속
So yes, continuously, and continuously it is going on. And I think that it's not just Korea that has this issue. And of course, I never lived abroad, but actually when I premiered the movie in other countries, I was able to meet with the audience and hear their thoughts and opinions about the movies. And I realized that this is an issue that's happening not just in Korea, but worldwide. And honestly, to be honest, it is true that Korea is a lot worse. It's a lot tougher society to be in. But I think that when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, um, in any kind of competitive society, this is an issue that needs to be raised.
And I think even by Korean standards, your work tends to be politically bold. Do you ever get scared, or do you feel like the reception for Next Zoe has been different abroad?
So, yes, it's true that I talk about some sensitive topics within my film. However, I would say I'm not a strongly political person or have political says within my film, so I wasn't too worried. Rather, I was focused more on delivering the true message and making it as realistic as possible. So it has come to my attention that some people that are higher up in society or hold a lot more responsibilities may feel a little bit guilty while watching this movie. I think that's actually a part of the movie. And then moving on to the part where you mentioned about international reception of the film. So yeah, when I released the film, it was actually released in overseas first. So I thought that this was originally just Korea's problem, but I was surprised that international audiences could relate to Sohee's frustrating situation. Of course, not in an identical way, but in a similar sense where we're able to understand that this isn't just an issue that's specific to Korea society, but just a competitive comparison societal problem.
And did you see yourself in the shoes of Oh Yujin or Sohee?
To be honest, yeah, I can't fight like Sohee. I'm not extremely righteous or extremely like invested where I would like go around like how Yujin did and find all the information. However, when I see Sohee and Yujin and how they go around to investigate and also just like all the different factors that they deal with, it made me think about myself, how I also did a lot of research for this movie to really understand the situation like how Yujin did. And yeah, like I mentioned before, I wouldn't say I'm similar to Eugen, but I'm more of a soft-spoken and doing the research in the back type of person.
I guess another question I have is we usually don't see many Korean women directors abroad, especially working with big names. Why do you think that is?
So still today, it seems that women in the film industry, it's always the supporting role. So it's always woman supporting another male actor or a woman supporting another mainstream film. So it's hard to see a lot of mainstream it's hard to see a lot of female directors working in the mainstream industry. So we often see in a movie like the lead actor is one man or multiple men. And women are still in this area where they're still supporting. So obviously there's a lot of parts where we're still the minority. And for myself, I'm very lucky to have experienced this opportunity where I was able to debut and also work with top stars like Duna Bay. But still today, I think that there is a lack of opportunities for women in the mainstream film industry.
How do you think this will change?
So when it comes to movies, when we look at like OTTs, actually during COVID, there was a lot of popular drama series on OTT. And when we look at them, surprisingly, most of them are woman directed with a woman lead actor. So this is proof that the audience is actually ready for these female directors and female actors. And it's actually maybe the men in the mainstream film industry that are not ready for this change. And I think as of now, there's been a lot more of people, female directors working together. They're sticking together and really fighting and navigating through this mostly male populated industry.
Yeah, so it took 9 years to make next Sohee. What will you make now?
Yeah,
절대로
so
다시
I'm never going to take that long again to release a movie. So actually, right now I'm working on a movie. It's set to release in the summer of this year. So that's what I've been working on, and I'm looking forward to share it with you.
What is it about? Can we ask?
Yeah, so the next movie story, it's surprisingly again about a young adult and a older middle-aged woman. This wasn't done on purpose, but since I've been working on it and looking back now, I've created a three-part series to this dynamic.
Your your first movie is called 도희야. The second one was 다음 소희. And so this does this one also have a he at the end of the name?
Yeah, so that was actually just totally a coincidence. So I got that name when I was just writing the script. It's from my middle school friend. So there's no relation between the two movies. And for the name Sohee, I was reading a short novel, and that was the name of the main character of the novel. So in the next movie, there will be no he character.
I still look forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.